Thank you so much, Kanishk, for joining us on a podcast at Dawdle. Really appreciate you taking out time in the morning to, talk with us and share your insights. I welcome you, sir. Before we jump onto the topics, if you would kind of, take us through your experience so far, your journey so far, to give a brief context to our audience.
Thanks, Rishikesh. Thanks for reaching out and giving me an opportunity to speak my mind. And see, my experience till now, I have been through it in HR for around 15, 16 years. Not much compared to many stalwarts in the corporate world. So what I have done till now, I'm right now working for Prudential as a regional HR BP, where I'm managing multiple countries, being based in Mumbai. Prior to this, within Prudential, I was in Vietnam working for them as a HR consultant. And prior to that, I was in Singapore doing Southeast Asia role for a logistics company, a toll group. And prior to that, I was with GE. And with Adidas Group and then Hero Honda, and then did my MBA. Prior to that, I did a small stint in IBM and also did my engineering in electronics and communication, but I very soon realized I was not a good engineer. So I had to move out. I actually joke about it that I found out very early while I was getting my degree that I wasn't good at it. But yes, then I eventually did some work for a short while and then moved to MBA and then went on to do my HR. So yeah, that's my experience per se. But yes, I mean, the thing broadly, if you look at it, I have done different industries within the corporate realm in terms of automotive, industrial power, retail, and now in financial services and insurance. And also within HR, I have moved into different fields of HR, I've done bit of IR, bit of rewards. But yeah, I mean, my sweet spot lies in the business partnering side. I enjoy that, working alongside business. And that's where I like to play till now. Let's see how it goes in the future.
There's a long future ahead of you, sir. And I saw that you did your MBA from Ranchi, I think.
Yes.
XISS. So are you basically from Ranchi or from?
I am from Bihar. I am from Madhubani. But yes, because Bihar that time, I mean, during my father time, it was comparatively better to what it is now that time. He moved on to SAIL to work in Bokaro steel plant in Jharkhand, and that's how we went to Jharkhand, and that's how we grew. I mean, that time it was all Bihar. Yes, so that's what my background is that I'm from Bihar. I mean, I generally want to go back. I go back there regularly once a year. I make it a point. And yes, I'm unfortunately not in touch a lot with Jharkhand anymore.
Yes.
But yes, for my friends, wherever they are, I mean, they're across the globe now.
Yes.
So yes, if we get opportunity, we talk about our days in Ranchi.
Right, sir. Because XISS is a very renowned college based out in Ranchi. That's why I asked. And now I hope that things actually change in Bihar, because we are seeing a lot of political movements that has started.
I seriously, it's okay. I can tell you my political influence. I don't mind. Really, I'm really banking on PK to get something.
Absolutely, same here, sir. Same here. Same here. At least the things that he's telling makes a lot of sense.
He had, I mean, obviously that's the reason he is there where he is, and that's the reason he has been able to help so many, because at least his grip on data is very strong, right? So everything that he says is not just out of the blue, but it is based on some facts and some data. So that's the reason. And also mathematically, what he's saying, that the things that he will change and how he will bring those changes based on some budgetary guidance of what he has analyzed makes a lot of sense. And I'm hoping people give him something positive.
Yeah, absolutely. From data, sir, I have got a first question, on, inside HR on data, is that one of the recurring challenges that, you face inside the HR process is the fragmentation across markets, especially when you are dealing in different geographies. Payroll, clients, workforce data, they sit in silos, and it makes leaders, make it very hard for them to get a single reliable view of their people. Also talking about core HRMS, SCM platforms, they promise to solve this kind of a challenge. But from your experience, how effective have you found such platforms in streamlining operations, not only from a strategic decision making across diverse markets?
See, I will give you a broader context first, right? If you see all the B2C apps, right, you see the things in leaps and bounds they're growing. and nobody is pushing down your throat, right, in terms of to use this, right? But if you see the jumps and the kind of scale that they are managing, and you look, and then you come to the B2B apps or the things that we use, right, in the corporate world. I'm sure that's complex, but it is not managing the scale that the B2C apps are, right? But it's still trying to take a holistic view when you are doing something in B2C apps. But in B2B apps, we have not been able to scale through well. Holistically, not just HR per se, but holistically, either it is a financial ERP or it is something in operations or let's say supply chain. We have been struggling across the world. I don't know if something is happening probably with AI and they do something in terms of join and all of these things together so that every app that you use has some or is connected, right? And everything is seamless when you work. So I think within HR also, right? I mean this is broader concept within a corporate world, but then when you come to HR also, HR is again the least worked on. The apps or the ERP systems or the HRIS systems that we use is majorly fragmented. Like for everything we are using something else. Let's say for a payroll, we are using something else. For HRIS, we are using something completely different. And then for recruitment, we are using something completely different. And it is very difficult when it comes together that you want to every app to talk to each other so that we get a combined data. I mean, I remember when we were in, sorry, I'll not take names, but we were working with one of the good or great organizations in the world, right? And they were working on Oracle, right? We transformed from Oracle to Workday, right? Thinking that Workday is something more advanced. And now when I'm working with Workday, Workday is also coming up with their own limitations, right? In terms of bringing in something at the enterprise level when you want to. And that's again creating some challenges. There is a lot to be done, right? In terms of, and when I'm saying it is not just India balance, but I'm talking globally, we are all struggling within HR. But I have seen some improved versions of Oracle with AI these days, which they are very exemplary, like very, very advanced. But again, you have to come together with a complete suit to provide and also see that how it is linking with financial metrics or let's say business, right? And it is intermingling all of that and creating some synergy out of the data that you provide, right? To an employee or to a manager or let's say to a leader to take a decision. There is a lot to be done right now. And I think that should be a game changer if somebody comes with an entire suite or tells me that, okay, I will be creating something that will stitch all your apps in the company. And there will be enough privacy also with it so that there is no leakage of data from let's say one person to the other or let's say in a bigger world outside, because with AI right now there is a lot of issues with privacy, how the data will be kept inside the organization, how much will it go out. That's it's a big point of discussion these days. But yes, I mean it is fragmented unfortunately, and there is a lot to do in short.
So why do you think that these big players, the names that you told, not been able to create something like SAP or, which kind of covers the entire spectrum of HR?
See, I mean, again, going back to SAP also, they have also not been doing something great. It was the first something ERP which stitched HR and finance together. They had two kinds of modules also, HCM and that. So they did it well. But again, I mean, I'm not sure if you have used the user interface was not that
Yes, yes.
great.
That is.
And then came in Oracle, which brought in that angle, right? So everybody moved away from there, moved to Oracle. Then Oracle also was kind of very complicated, still complicated. Then Workday did something better that, okay, it's like a Google search engine kind of thing. You put in something and you get outputs. So then I mean, we are growing. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you compare B2B versus B2C, look at the range and the speed at which this is growing. And why is not somebody investing here? Is there no scale? Is there no money here? There is, right? Because corporates are the ones who are using,
Yes.
I mean, if you, lot of companies, which is very funny that you sell these products to the outside world, but your own systems are not great, right?
Yes. Yes.
Which is which you see, I mean, it's very oxymoron, right? When you go and say so many things, like even big four consultants, right? They will go out and sell you a lot of things,
Yes. But
but
their own systems are like,
but
yes.
their own systems are not that great. So I'm not sure what is happening, but yes, there is a need to be done, and there is a lot of talk. I mean, generally, if you see HR is somebody who's as an organization, it's like always in the front of all the stand-up comedians, right? So we are somebody who's joked about. We are somebody who's always in a controversy that okay, this is the department that will be made redundant first if something changes very fast. I think if you look at it very broadly, once the entire scheme of, let's say, what we believe AI is going to bring a change, if that really comes through, a lot of transactional stuff that will happen will go away, right? Which happens in generally in any automation that comes in. And I believe just for HR, right, I would want to just tell you that I think it will either diminish completely or it will be the only function that will stay. It's like two extremes, because if you are, because I don't think the AI has been, I mean, they're doing well. I mean, I have seen some things in my current organization also where they are building in terms of human interactions and human, let's say the EQ piece of it. They are building it into it so well that you can't make a difference, right? And probably that system is helping you in a much better fashion and more holistically than a person can help you when we deal with some complex issues of human relations or employee relations in our organizations. We have that human angle and human touch, and also to understand the background and broader view, and then again the micro view of an individual, right? And then we take a call, right,
Yes.
of what decisions needs to be taken. But also we, in that entire discussion, we also build and improve the way leaders behave with their employees and how to think and how to approach, how they can grow in an organization, approaching in their leadership styles. So I think this also AI is taking up very well slowly, but it will take time. I'm sure with machine learning, they can pick up a lot of stuff and grow themselves. Uh, yes, I mean, a lot is to be done, but I think there is a lot of scope of within HR fraternity. We move towards engaging more with people and understanding the human emotions and bringing the human into the HR,
Yes.
human resources function. It's very important that we build on that. And yes, I mean, you can, again, you shouldn't be fighting the changes or that is coming your way. Let's say whether it is AI, machine learning, blockchain, whatever, or it should be your friend, right? Otherwise, you will break down. So you should be understanding what is coming, whether it is relevant for you, and bring it into practice. Otherwise, you will not be able to grow.
So the next thing is about talent attraction and retention. So we see a lot of AI driven recruitment platforms coming in,
Mhm.
and a lot of experience focused onboarding solutions as well, which claim to reduce attrition and build a stronger employee engagement.
Mm.
Do you feel these technologies truly move the needle in terms of long term retention, and how they are used differently in different industries in which you have worked, like retail and
Mm.
industrial production and all that?
Okay. Engagement retention, very much a topic these days in terms of generations. Gen Z, how do you engage? How do you engage Gen X, millennials, etc.? There's a lot of discussions around, because again, one thing, no size fits all, right? One size will not fit everybody. So you will have to think, I mean, this is a time where you will have to give customization and at least a scope of customization to everybody, right? If you are not able to do that, if it is a topic of retention, engagement, attraction, right, you will not be able to build onto it. And it's, I think, a lot of good organizations, which I understand, who have that kind of margins and also that kind of scale to play in, they can. But again, and if somebody has a volume, right, of
Yes.
that kind, they can play into it. It's not easy to give that to all different kinds of generation. That's the reason a lot of people you see are leaving the organization and moving into something more stable. So what will happen is that people who are investing in these things, or companies who are investing in these aspects of giving more customization, will have the best of the talents. And who are not, who are very straight line, that this is my benefit or this is my perk, take it or leave it, will not have the best of talent. As an employee, I grow in my career ladder. My expectations from the company, my expectation from life changes. Does the company understand it in advance and come up to you and give you that is more important. That's where you change the game in terms of retention. Are you working proactively with your employees? Which zone are they going into in their life? Right. And then helping them there. Comp becomes like a hygiene, which is comp and benefits, but I think I was discussing with somebody yesterday,
Yes.
and he was telling me that I think the game changer of retention is love and respect.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if you do that and it comes out very genuinely,
Yes. Yes.
I mean, you can catch on the face that somebody is doing it just for the sake of it,
Yes.
because it's a tick mark in their book. But if you bring that very genuinely, it's a game changer. I don't know how, and that's where I think we as humans get differentiated with the system.
Yes.
And that's what will survive. Yeah. I think if you are able to do that for your employees, you can attract, can retain, and you can also keep them engaged. Yes, I mean, and I'm not sure because again, so my current organization is measuring happiness of the employees, which is also an interesting concept, right? I know that a lot of countries also do like a happiness index. I know Bhutan does. Uh,
Yes.
I know, I think Sweden also does it. Not
Yes.
sure. So I think there is a lot to pick up from these things, right? With so much happening across the world, I think it is important that we start talking on these things and we start, we're not mechanizing it again, that we do in a lot of things, but at least keep it real and help our people, right? Genuinely go there and try to help people to grow in their journey, try to help our employees to see what it matters. Again, attrition is something that is, I've always said this, that attrition is a realistic term in the organization, right? You can't run away with it, right?
Yes.
So let's face it, if somebody has to leave, has made a call, we can try. But if he has already or she has already decided to quit, it's okay. Let them go. Probably they are finding some better passion. Let them go and experience.
Yes.
This, I mean, you always want to hold your talent, but if they've made a call, they've made a call. I'm sure everybody is adult when they come inside.
But many a times what happens is that, sir, and I'm just outing it, kind of questioning it out of the box. It came to my mind is that there have been employees who have been working for 3 years, 4 years, and they've been doing pretty well. They are not rewarded till the point that they get an offer, or somebody pulls them into another company,
And then
and then the entire system, right from MD to manager to senior manager, everybody starts. And this is very common, sir, because I'm seeing in my family itself. So, sir, with all these platforms coming in for engagement, rewards, and making sure that the employees are being heard and kind of you know appreciated for their performance, don't you think the system is broken somewhere?
that definitely is. Again, and I'm not sure if a system can help.
Yes.
Probably it can. I'm not. I don't know where the future lies completely. But yes, it is true that a lot of people who are working silently, giving their best,
Yes.
are often ignored because
Yes.
somebody who's loud enough to
Yes.
talk about what they're doing, and not just doing and also displaying and talking about it,
Yes.
they
Yes.
get more attention and they
Yes.
get more rewarded
Yes. Yes.
comparatively to who does. But see, I mean, depending on the scale of the organization, if the organization is very big, you tend to ignore somebody who's just focused and doing his work or her work. And it happens to the best of us. We can't keep on understanding who is doing what or somebody is excelling in their work. And that's the reason a hierarchical chain is created, right? So that
Yes.
we expect the managers to look at all of their employees and raise up that, okay, this guy is still like a solid guy and he's working, he doesn't display, but he's doing what he's doing and he's doing best. And that's the reason there is a lot of discussion around spans and layers, that how much people you should manage and how much you shouldn't. And it works, right? Let's see. And I'll not deny the fact that there is sometimes we'll have a blind spot, right?
Yes.
We know that. And it's also not always that somebody who's resigning and and somebody suddenly wants to get retained. It's also comes down to your fact that how you're planning your people. Do you have enough that, let's say, if somebody is leaving, do you have a contingency plan that
Yes.
somebody could backfill or not? Or do you have a good succession plan in place? Right.
Mm.
So that somebody who exits, do you have somebody to backfill or take up that job? Right.
Yes.
Generally, the scale is so low and people, I mean, are very much in their silos. What they're doing good at it and they can't do something else, which is kind of not that great.
Exactly. Yes.
And I think most of the things, I mean, because we are coming from India and the kind of education that we have, we only want to work in that setup, right? But
Mm.
if you go overseas, there are two factors, right? One is education in our country, especially Asian countries, right, taken very seriously, and we want to grow in where we have educated. You move outside Asia, you see people doing something very different and doing work in a very different field, right? Like they probably would have read sociology and working in, let's say, a finance, right? So, and probably would have studied something very different and then working in a very different field, right? Unless you are in some very unique skill set, let's say a doctor or a scientist, right? So otherwise, in a corporate world, I think people just switch. And there is nothing in a corporate world that anybody who is not educated cannot do.
Yes.
It's nothing unique, right? All skills are transferable.
Yes.
And people can just switch if they are just given like probably 3 to 6 months of good training, right? Or just a hand holding, not even training, hand holding, right?
Yes.
I think we can switch skills, right? Unless you are something in like, let's say, a tax or an actuary thing where you are working very niche skill set where you need to understand laws, etc. Again, lawyers, right? These kind of skill sets probably you can't. But again, at a senior level, I think that also can be switched. Maybe not at the execution level, but at the senior level where you're thinking broadly on a strategy, I think that also is transferable. Those skill sets are also transferable. So it's very important that you give that opportunity for people so that you create backups. And that's the reason I'm saying that it is very important that you cross train people. People every day when they go, they don't want to, nobody gets up in the morning and says that, okay, well, I'm very happy doing what I'm doing. I don't want to learn something new, right? Everybody wants to go and have something new to learn, right? That's why otherwise there's no excitement in the life, right? So you want to go up and learn something new. So as an employer, are you giving that opportunity to your employees or not? And if you do that, I don't think you will come to a situation where if somebody is exiting you get a cold feet and you want to just do anything to retain the person, because if somebody leaves, the entire system will break. And nobody is indispensable. I mean, even at CEO level, nobody is indispensable. You can hire them. It might take some time, but everybody can be filled back. So we make ourselves too important. We take ourselves too seriously. But I think we can replace anybody and everybody.
Yes, everybody is replaceable, sir. Even APJ Abdul Kalam went, somebody else is taking care of ISRO. So if that person can be replaced, anybody can be replaced. Now, the next question is around, sir, since you have seen, you have managed employees in various geographies. So what are the main engagement challenges that come while you have employees in different geographies and they have to work together?
Again, going back to one size doesn't fit all. There is one thing, again, if I'm talking when I'm in my regional role, one thing is very important. When you're managing multiple countries, that you can't just throw, let's say, a practice or an intervention or a policy to everybody at once, right? A simple app that you want to roll out takes almost like 3 to 6 months to get into BAU, because everybody has their own needs. And that's where when you are working an country like us, right, where and that's why I feel that Indians are so marketable in other markets, because we in our country itself see so much of complexities, right, within one state to the other. Thanks to Britishers for that. But we have enough complexity and we have seen internally as well. Right? So it's very easy when we go out to manage that kind of complexities when we are doing these kind of work, right? Because broadly, if you manage diversity, you can manage it and you understand the complexity. So you always have to give respect to the local person who's managing it and the point of view he or she is coming up with. So that respect you can give, I think, a very natural. In India, we give that very naturally to people. So yes, so that comes. So again, going back to your question, right? So once you're managing multiple countries, you will have to give them that importance that, okay, what you tell me your view first, because you're at the ground, you know the business better, you know your people better, you know your culture better. So give them that importance and then you come up with, okay, this is what we are bringing. You tell me, how do you want to customize in terms so that it will fit in what you want from your team? And I think most of the people, they want to excel in their own role, is what I understand in the corporate world. That's the reason you are here. All of us are here to grow. All of us are here to earn money. So you give them that, and nobody wants to just stop something. Probably they don't. Change is something that nobody wants. It's a broad topic to be picked up. and everybody doesn't like change, right? How it is managed is very important. So you have to go through that phase. So that's the reason if you look at a PMO organization, program management, any program that is rolled out, how you plan for it, how you bring so it's like a full-time role, right? In most of the organization, very critical, every project that is run. You have to collect data from different areas, different countries, different departments, and then see how it is executed. After the execution has happened, then you also put in some time to like a hypercare situation where you help people to go through that for the sustainability of the practice, right? So I think that's how you work, right? You give respect to different people in different regions, in different countries, understand what they want and give them what they want. Probably you also want something. It is always, again, I've broadly said this in a lot of my conversation. If two people can just discuss and solve nuclear issues, nuclear wars, just by discussion. So I'm sure we can also solve a lot of dispute just by discussion. Have that discussion. Every time you're dealing with some other country, probably there are some issues in language, which will always be. You might not understand them, and they might not understand you. But again, that's where the law, the tech comes into picture these days, and I think a lot of companies are doing a lot of beautifully in terms of translating the language and getting the exact meaning of what somebody is saying to understand to the other person. But yes, I think give it some time to understand and don't just rush and push your agenda to the other person.
Yes.
Understand what they want, and you have to ultimately do it, push your own agenda, because it's also company's profitability and company that wants to run it. Yes. But it's always two ways, right? You should learn how to manage these things jointly. How do you work together? How do you collaborate well? Are you picking enough? Are you checking? Because I've seen other countries, I would always know that, okay, this works in this area. Should I be putting it here? And are they also getting some inputs from, let's say, a Thailand doing something? Are they talking to, let's say, a Malaysia or a Philippines or a China? Are they doing something well or not? And there are a lot of good practices in different areas of the world. So all you have to do is just bring that up together, and just a lot of times is just pick up, copy and paste, right? And just customize it how it works in your country. Good idea. Just see if you can bring it to practice.
Right. Sir, also would love that if you touch upon a few compliance and risk related challenges, especially in HR.
So it has been a important topic when it comes to audits, governance, compliance, risk. These topics are very important, and that has been like the, I think, bread and butter of our role since the very beginning. So I think a lot of tech enabled services are helping there, because again, I would say that this is something very, very, how do you say, cyclical, right? In terms of how do you do this? And a lot of tech companies have been able, not tech companies, but a lot of apps or let's say agencies have been able to get there, right? In terms of how do we manage these compliances and risks, and how do you mitigate or let's say get a trigger if somebody is doing wrong, right? Or if something has been missed out, how do you get a trigger out of it, and how do you manage it and mitigate it in the future? So these all things have been, there are systems in place to correct it, systems in place to tell you that, okay, something is not happening right, do a correction. But I think again, there is a lot of scope in this area in terms of managing risks as well, because again, now I'm in a financial services organization, so I see it very closely, how much of it is important, that everything that you do has to be looked at a risk and governance angle. And how do you mitigate those, right? Whether you should need a system to do it, or you want to do something broadly, because otherwise there is no use of lawyers, right? In the world, right? If there, it is not to be looked at a different way, right? So there is always subjectivity to almost everything, and that's the reason you, as HR people, or let's say a lawyer comes into picture. So there is a lot of importance on compliances these days, a lot of changes happening broadly across the world in terms of good practices, ease of doing business, ways of working that you want to improve, and that is coming from governments these days. My last stint was Singapore. It was, interestingly, I'll give you a parallels of these things, right? In Singapore, the laws are so straightforward, right? That they're reducing subjectivity to everything. And again, I'm assuming it's because of their geography, because it's very small, it's easier to manage, easier to implement. But again, the intent is very nice. where they bring in something laws which is very much implementable. Interesting thing that I observed, like if you had a issue of labor, like where you're confused about some clause in the law, or you don't know if this is not something right, it's there's a customer service, right? Imagine, right? That as an HR person or as an employee, I can just call up Ministry of Manpower, which deals with labor issues,
Yes.
and ask that whether I should be putting this in the employment letter, or how should I read this clause, right? Does this mean something? And they would give you an answer to it, probably sometimes also give you like a written answer to it, right? Which kills down the lawyers that we have, the pool of lawyers who create some subjectivity to every clause, right? Entire thing goes away, right? And here, right, now coming back to India, of that similar, let's say if I have to interpret a clause, I have to pay a consultant or a lawyer fees, right? To get that kind of clarity, we think that should we be doing it or not? Should we go, which lawyer to go to, which law firm should we take, or an employment lawyer to hire to understand something, right? More detail. So again, it varies from country to countries to countries, but and I'm just talking compliances and risk right now, right? How can you do it? From tech to countries to, let's say, how do we see through it? And there is a lot to be done on that area also. But again, tech has done some good work. I know some good companies who have been able to build something to see through it, in terms of there is nothing missed out in terms of doing it cyclical, right? And what are the things that are needed. But again, India is kind of very complex in these things. Every state has a different rule within, even in shops and establishment, right? You will have different things, factories act, different things needed in different states. So yeah, it's kind of complex here. And am I mean, I've been hearing that there is labor codes being changed in some time, but I don't know how far it has been till now. But there is a lot to be done in terms of changing our laws and how it is practiced also. A lot of things are from the British era. Some of the laws that we still have are still prior independence, right? That we still practice. Yeah, so it's not easy to change given our scale of people as well as geography. Not easy, but and the political situation. But it's very much needed now, so that a lot of companies from outside can come in and build up something right here.
Got it. And
I
now
don't know if I've answered your question, but yeah, I tried.
you have given a good macro thing about it, and this is very helpful, sir. Actually, now we'll go. The last topic is around analytics. What are the main use cases of data analytics or predictive analytics that you are seeing coming up in the HR domain?
Okay. I think we are doing analytics per se is being used in almost everything these days. Starting to talent mapping, where you start attracting people in the organization in terms of, I mean, very basic in terms of how you read through the CVs, which is getting selected, going for the first round. There is analytics done. There is an app in the background running, which does analysis on the resumes, does analysis and throws you the data that this is 80% closer to what you want, 70% closer to what you want. So from that to also, there is, I think, a lot of companies using these days chatbots to do some analysis in terms of first round of interview, where they ask you some behavioral questions and some functional questions, and they do your analysis basis how you react to a question, how you're responding to a question, and then they give them evaluation basis that and give a first round evaluation, so that that is a selection. So again, these are some analysis only that is done. Now in a life cycle journey, there is a lot of analysis in terms of how do you evaluate your talent, in terms of how the person has performed, right? And we are working on something in terms of looking at the performance review cycle and how complex it is to be really able. It's been running through ages, and how do we analyze people on that, which is who is a talent, how do you deal with talent, right? What can we do to work on the talent? Again, when you're talking in the last question that you mentioned, that somebody leaves and then you look at it, how do I look at a broader view, right, of all our employees and get some data out of it? Who's performing, non-performing, average performers, or let's say somebody who's working silently, not coming out? What are we doing for that kind of people? I mean, when you do typical the 9 box that we have, performance and potential, right? How are each people placed there? Are we taking care of each people placed in each quadrant, right? There is a lot of discussion on leadership trainings. How do you deal with conflict management? And a lot of tech enabled services are helping us these days in my current organization. Okay. So that is a lot of things are being done in that level where we are training CEOs of different country CEOs and how to deal with their own people, how to deal with their talent. And that coaching and training is being done by an AI bot, which is so interesting, right? So again, data analytics on that level, I think to pick up who's talent and what we are training people, I think a lot of work is being done there. A lot of things in terms of picking up data to understand who is your talent and what needs to be done for them, right? Depending on what is their skill sets and how can you grow. Have they created something of their growth journey in the company? If you know that, how would you build in skills for them so that they can grow to that journey? Whether that analysis comes out and it is creating with the journey that we have, or can we create something horizontally for them, right? So that data also comes out from the system, or somebody who puts in their own, let's say, aspirations. It churns out from the kind of work that they have done and throws out data back. There are a lot of things happening already, but I think a lot needs to be done on analytics. Again, data analytics. A lot of data is there which we are not able to understand that can be leveraged. Like I'll tell you, I remember somebody just told me that we had created in our organization that every day when you come, there's a pop-up comes up in your Windows login. It's two smileys, happy and sad. How are you feeling today? Every day that comes. So easy, somebody clicks. And with that data, people could do so much. With that just small data, they can understand that, okay, if there has been gap in, let's say, a holiday, how is the change in performance happening of an employee, right? And how much is person building on, let's say, if he's sad, is the delivery happening at the right content or right level or not? Person, if he's happy at, let's say, a week, how is it moving downwards, right? How much down is it going to the peak, then it is going up, right? What is changing, what was there at that day? So with simple inputs, you can create a lot of things that even you don't know, right?
Yes.
So, and that's the beauty of data, is that there is a data which is presented, and what you make out of it and what I make out of it might be very different.
Yes.
So every data, there is a narrative that needs to be created, and that depends on the leaders, how you see it, how they want to create a narrative around the organization or the talent piece or within an HR.
This was insightful, sir. And one thing that I would like to kind of add upon here is that with more and more these tools coming in, with a lot of AI coming in, I have observed, like, because I have been an observer throughout my life. Like, I've been into sales, I've been into marketing, so I've been on the ground. So people are getting more pretentious. Like 10 years back or 12 years back, people were less pretending and more actual.
Okay.
With a lot of AI tools coming in, people are pretending a lot. Like everybody, sir, if I move around my apartment and if I observe people, 80% of them are just pretending to be something, but they're not. And that is one of the lacunas that I feel that this virtual thing is actually bringing in, is that they're making us pretend. And what I have seen in this 34 years of my life is that, sir, by pretending you can be happy elsewhere, but you can't be happy inside.
True. That's so true. And I was telling, so, I mean, again, probably philosophical, but I was telling this to my nephew a few months back, right? That it's a lot of people never know throughout their life that what they're good at. And if they know and they're able to gauge, or if they're able to, how do you see, monetize or commercialize that piece of themselves, that what they're good at is something that they will do good at, right? And
Yes.
if you're continuously, what you're saying here, are pretending
Yes.
be
Yes.
somebody else,
Yes.
you will
Yes.
never know what you're good at. You will never,
Exactly.
right? So if you keep following, probably, I mean, I will not deny everybody should have an ideal
Yeah.
and should follow them, but find out your sweet spot of what you're good at. And it will only happen when you be yourself. Very easier said than done, honestly. There is a race outside, and outside everybody wants to be somebody, probably get into your manager's shoes very sooner.
Yes.
So you have to start acting and following the way he deals with his own people. You also start dealing the similar way. And you want to become somebody like your CEO, let's say, if you're following him and you are very much fan of it. But people seldom realize that if you just do what everybody is doing, it will never take you far.
Yes. And
Yeah.
you will never be happy, like, inside.
That's most important.
You will always be
Self
hollow in.
self is most important. And I've always realized, thankfully in my career, I have known this very early, that
Yes.
you have to always push back, right, of something
Yes.
that is coming. I mean, saying no is an art. Creating saying no also builds you credibility at sometimes, right?
Yes.
You don't.
Which is not taught inside India, sir. Right from the childhood.
I know. और उस पर से if you are a joint family तो वो तो बहुत naturally आता है. अच्छा अच्छा कोई बोल रहा है मेरे को, अरे मैं ही कर देता हूँ. So it is very, वो क्या कहते हैं, टेलिंग दिस टू पीपल कि फिशर्स ने इतना किया है ना हम पे कि हमें जब तक दो वो चाबुक नहीं लगता है ना हम काम नहीं, मजा नहीं आता हम कि हमें जब तक वो लगे नहीं तब तक हम काम ही नहीं करेंगे. ओ तब क्या ही फन है, कोई मारेगा नहीं तब तक चलो सब ठीक ही चल रहा है. ठीक है. सो अगेन दीज आर थिंग्स व्हिच इट्स नॉट इजी यार ऋषि, ऑनेस्टली
Yes.
इट्स नॉट इजी because our cultural upbringing is such
Yes.
that it is not easier. हमें शुरू से सिखाया नहीं जाता है that your thoughts which
Yes.
you have is very good. हमें कभी बच्चे में बोला नहीं गया था कि अच्छा जो तुम ये एक सवाल पूछ रहे हो ये बड़ा अच्छा सवाल है, या फिर अच्छा अगर तुम्हें ABCD नहीं पढ़ना है कुछ और
Yes.
पढ़ना है तो
Yes.
जाओ पढ़ लो. बट we were told to run in a way, we were told to run with the people. So we
Hmm.
don't have that different mindset or something that we are doing, or we have a different thought to be brought out in public and talked about.
Yes.
And that's the reason, I mean, right, these days there are a lot of entrepreneurs, thankfully, in India. And that's
Hmm.
the reason the entrepreneurship doesn't come up very naturally to us
Exactly, sir. Exactly.
because we are still
Yes.
pretending to be somebody else.
Absolutely. Exactly. Exactly. And neither the system is supportive because we usually think in a very linear way, sir.
Correct.
Linear way. 10वीं के बाद 12वीं कर लिया, 12वीं के बाद ये कर लिया. बट लाइफ में लीनियर कुछ होता है, टॉप पे पहुंच के आदमी नीचे गिर जाता
जब तक पता लगता है बट ठीक है. आई मीन पीपल लाइक यू, एटलीस्ट इफ यू नो दैट, tell to several people, at least promote it in your family or people that you meet. That's how we will grow. And I'm very optimistic about these things, that there are good times to come.
है. And it was great talking to you, sir. It was very insightful. And we are always grateful to host leaders like you. And if you are in Bangalore sometime, please let us know.
Sure,
We'll
sure.
catch up.
We have an office in Bangalore. If I'm there, I'm surely we'll catch up.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a great day.
You too. Take care.